Good afternoon, Rachel.
Good afternoon, Cass. How you going?
Yeah, good. We are back for a second episode.
Yes, we are. Yes.
First one was nerve-wracking, but we got it done.
We did.
And we've had a lot of people asking us about it and supporting us, so that's been really good.
It's been good. It's raised a lot of, conversations and questions.
Yeah.
And, positive ones. That's all right.
Yeah, definitely positive ones. I mean, we still have a lot to learn in life, so does everyone, really.
Yeah.
But we're just two girls going on our journey, and we can't wait to talk more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're here at the Bella Vista Hotel again. So obviously at a different time. So it's a lot busier today. It's, obviously everyone's, kicked out of work early and having a drink for the afternoon, which I quite like. I think every workplace should be embracing that on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah, and as per our pledge from our first episode, we are starting with an Aperol Spritz in hand.
Cheers.
And this is going to be a routine for every episode. You can't start it without an Aperol Spritz. But today we're a bit more appropriate because it's 1 o'clock instead of 10.
Yes, exactly. So if we do record at 8 o'clock in the morning, are we still going to have an Aperol Spritz?
Yes. There's no bad time of day for a drink.
It's always, the afternoon somewhere, so that's fine.
Exactly right. So what are we going to talk about today, Rach?
Little bits and pieces. I think talking a bit more about our personalities, which is a bit scary to talk about, but our personalities and how they influence what we do as in the workplace and who we are. Are you okay?
Oh my God, the Aperol Spritz nearly killed me.
Oh, you all right? Can you continue?
Yeah, I'm good. I can continue. Sorry,
this is
everyone.
authentic. We're not going to cut that out, so that's okay.
No, we're just going to keep rolling. I mean, if we were on live radio, that would not be able to be cut out. So we are live.
We are live. Are you okay to continue?
Yes, I'm good. I'm good.
So I think what we're talking about personalities. A little bit about a conference that we attended yesterday.
Yeah.
And what else are we going to talk about?
Bit of motivation. I mean, I guess both of us really have that love language of affirmations and praise and being motivated to be able to do our jobs and to be able to be mums.
Yeah.
So I think talking about motivation, some people do really find it hard to be motivated, get up in the morning and get going. So I think we'll talk about that and a few strategies on how you can keep motivated and believe in yourself and keep going.
Yeah, absolutely, which I think is important, especially, educating young kids these days about that motivation, but then also adults as well in the workplace. It's so important of where they can get that motivation from and what that looks like.
Yeah.
I definitely think is really important. So I'm actually excited to talk about that today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start with our personalities, right?
Yeah.
All right. So 3 words that would describe you as a person.
Oh, 3 words to describe me as a person.
Yeah, I know. It's a hard one.
Wow. That's so confronting when someone asks you that question when you talk about yourself.
We're real and we're raw.
Look, I would definitely describe myself as shy.
Yeah.
As definitely a word. I would describe myself as active.
Yeah, definitely active.
And creative.
Definitely creative.
Yeah. I'm going to go with those 3 words. That's really hard saying that out loud, but
yeah. And I guess for me, I would say that I'm really loud. And I'm not shy about it. Mm-hmm. Definitely an extrovert, and I love to go out and get out there and meet people and talk to people and see my friends, and it's a lot of words. It's a lot more than 3.
I wouldn't put it. That describes Cass. More than 3 words.
I feel like literally that was what would describe me. More than 3 words. Yeah. I could go on for a while, but I mean it's hard because sometimes people get a bit confronted by that and they're not used to that, and I'm very. I mean I can be stubborn as well, but I feel like I just kind of have taught myself to just be real and be me, and some people really don't like that, and I have been told in the past that I need to dull it down and I need to be quiet and I need to, not be like that. But then when I do go to that side, I get told again, oh, you're too quiet. Like it's coming across like bad now that you're not talking and you're not loud like you usually are, and that you don't like people. And I'm like, well, I just did what I was told.
And it's funny because that they're your 3 qualities of your personality. And it's funny how sometimes you talk about that in a negative way, but in our job, what we do in marketing, it is so like those skills are so important.
Yeah.
And I see you flourish every time you use those skills you know, like it's just,
yeah.
I'm in awe of you when you use those skills, and it's crazy because I wish I had that. And so when I see you using those skills when we go to events and things, which is a lot of events that we go to, and I'm there like panicking inside, and you flourish and you love it. So it's when I look at you, it's like, I really wish I had that skill. So it's like when you say things like, oh, people want to shut me down, like that really, you know, like frustrates me because I'm like, I'd actually want that skill. Can I have that skill?
Yeah.
So,
and I feel like as well, I mean, it comes down to you want what you can't have.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, everyone's never going to be, well, I mean, maybe if there is someone that's 100% happy with themselves, I'll love it.
Yeah.
But I feel like not everyone is always going to be 100% happy with who they are and what they do. And I kind of has just trying to get around that and go, you know what, I am who I am. Like, and if you don't like that, then that's your problem. Like, I'm going to live my life as who I am, and I don't want anyone to have a problem with me. But I mean, if you think I'm too loud and you think I'm, you know, too crazy at times or too stubborn, or, you know, then that's something I'm not going to really change.
Yeah. And it's funny because then I'm on the other side. I am quite shy, and I have come so far that since I'm older now than I was when I was younger. I was a lot shyer when I was younger.
Yeah.
And it was quite funny because people would come across to people that I was actually a bitch.
Yeah.
Sorry for the expletive.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens.
People would think I was a bitch because I was actually not talking or shy or holding back in a conversation. But really, in reality, deep down inside, I'm actually like panicking, and the overthinking in my head about the conversations was crazy. And that's what I dealt with for a very long time. And I'm still a little bit like that, but I've come out on the other side, and I'm a lot more confident in my conversations, and I still have elements of it. But it's interesting to see the two sides of it, that we're still taking negatives on it. But then I think when we come together and bring those skills together, then
really complements each other.
Yeah, exactly.
So for you, I guess there's going to be so many people out there that are the same as each of us.
Yeah.
And for you, I guess there's so many people that are shy and that are like quite afraid to speak up and be in front of people. What do you think for you has changed in the past few years that has helped you come out of your shell a bit?
I think it's more like engaging with people on a regular basis. So I know in the last podcast I mentioned that I was a teacher for 13, 14 years. So a lot of people say to me, like, how can you be shy, but yet you're in front of a classroom? Yeah. But it's crazy because I'd be shy, but then step in front of a classroom and I'm a complete different person. Like it's like I turn into an extrovert. And so I sort of over the years tried to implement like how I felt in front of the classroom in front of people in a conversation, and just sort of try to develop those skills over time. And my husband, Michael, he would always, you know, encourage me and be like, why do you care what people think? Because it doesn't, in the end, it doesn't matter. And I've sort of slowly trying to bring, you know, that on into my mindset as well. And, you know, it hasn't happened overnight and it's taken time. Yeah. But it's something that I've obviously worked on, is to try and be confident and seeing that impact on my job and in my role as a marketing.
Yeah, and I think it's really good to look back, and the conference yesterday really was an eye-opener. Yeah. We went to the Upstate Conference, which is a real estate that we do work for. They're one of our clients, and we had the opportunity to sponsor the conference and attend ourselves. And honestly, it was like they made us feel like we were part of the team.
Yeah, it was amazing.
We really were interacting with everyone. They included us in everything. But the real thing that resonated with both of us were the speakers that they had for the day. Yeah. And I think with our personalities, it wasn't just about learning about property management. It was all about yourself, being yourself, having time for yourself. And I think that really opened my eyes to accepting me as who I am and not taking shit from anyone about what like is me. Yeah. Because I know that as well, like we spoke about it last episode, with social media, there's so many people that are going to put you down and so many people that are going to say something bad about you, but they don't even know you. Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing that yesterday really helped with us as well, is just don't bring in that negative energy that's just going to change your vibe. And I think, with you, you've really grown in the past few years that I've known you. Yeah. And I feel like as well, us working together, it's helped you come out of your shell as well. Yeah. So I think that's been really good on you. Yeah. But I guess when you were a teacher as well, I mean, you learnt those leadership skills because you were leading a classroom and you were a head teacher. How have you brought that over to the Appliance Guys and leading marketing and events there?
Yeah, I just think it's so many different skills have crossed over. And then when I actually think about it, it's funny how many skills do cross over, you know, from teaching into the classroom, and into marketing.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the skills that I brought across, you know, is being able to, you know, put plans in place and set plans in place across to marketing. And I think a lot in my job as a head teacher, I was involved heavily in the training of staff and running programs for staff, and which is something that I've brought across to marketing as well. But also, you know, I was a head teacher of wellbeing, and that was a lot about the wellbeing of kids.
Yeah.
But then also I had a massive push when in my last job as a teacher is the wellbeing of teachers.
Yeah.
And I think for us, that's what we're trying to bring over in marketing is the wellbeing of our employees, but then also the wellbeing of our clients as well.
For sure.
And that's what we're doing with some of the events that we're holding with our clients and how we approach each event that we do.
Yeah.
With the fact that actually we're looking after the wellbeing of you guys and thinking about what would help them and what would benefit them and motivate them as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I think wellness and health is so huge these days that it's kind of been overlooked in the past, but now we really kind of focus on it. And it's all about exercise and eating well. And I guess for me, I believe in all in moderation. I love a sweet here and there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like we're really pushing that. And I think that's a real big thing in today's society is healthy habits and learning about that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's another thing we learned about at the conference yesterday.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, so I think the conference was a real eye-opener for us. So let's talk about that a bit more.
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot what I got out of yesterday was, you know, feeling empowered to be who you are. And I think we discussed identifying the things that are, is the word disempowering ourselves?
Yeah.
So what things are getting in the way of us wanting to be who we are. And I know I identified one as I'm a people pleaser. That was definitely one that I identified. And I think being able to identify them and write them down on paper or tell it to someone actually makes you, I felt empowered to go, okay, I need to work on not being a people pleaser and what that looks like.
Yeah.
What about yourself? What did
I mean, I'm a big believer of what you put out in the universe is what you're going to get back. Yeah. And what Tanja said in her presentation was exactly that.
Yeah.
I mean, the way she put it is you've got a kitchen and you've got your chef and what you're ordering is what you're going to get back.
Yeah.
And I feel as though in life, in your career, in everything, what you manifest in your life is really what you're going to get.
Yeah.
But you can't just sit there and watch it happen. You still got to be involved and do the work. So like I know through my career even, every time I had a job or started off as a salesperson or a bartender, I always said when I started that, I will be a manager. I want to be a manager. I want to move up to that position. I want to run this place.
Yeah.
And yes, I put that out in the universe and that's what I wanted, but I still had to do the work to get there.
Yeah.
But it was out there. So I knew that I had to prove to myself that I was worthy of that.
Yeah.
And I feel like what she was mentioning yesterday is literally that. And I feel like that for me is something that I need to keep doing because I think I've lost that a bit in the past.
Yeah.
And I think with having kids as well, you kind of you don't lose yourself, I guess. You kind of lose a little bit of me time and having time that you can spend to focus on yourself. And I think maybe that's what's left me in that position where I kind of haven't been thinking about my growth.
Because your mindset is different when you become a parent.
Yeah.
Your mind's not just on work anymore. There's, you know, little ones that you've got your mindset on and their needs as well. So a lot of times your goals sort of get pushed to the side a little bit and your ambitions, and you still have those ambitions, but the drive is a little bit different because you've got other people to look after.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think as well, what we made a pledge yesterday that we're going to take time to have time for ourselves.
Yes, we did.
Nothing to do with work, nothing to do with the kids. Like you still need that time for yourself to be able to recharge and regenerate and just be kind of you again.
Yeah.
Because you go from a work life, you go from a professional to in your day, then home to your mum life, and the only time you really have to yourself is when the kids go to sleep, but then still your mind's still on work.
Yeah.
And I feel like we never kind of switch off.
Yeah, and I know that, you know, when I get home of an afternoon, I've got the 4 kids running around and, you know, Ari's got sport and then Charlie's got sport. and then the other two are watching them play sport.
Yeah.
And then by the time they go to bed, it's then, okay, well, I got to get all their stuff ready for the next day. And then it's the next day. So it's like there's no downtime. And I think, you know, that's what we sort of discussed yesterday is, making that pledge to ourselves that we need to have that downtime and me time, because that's so important. And I've learnt more about that over the last few years. It's so important to make time for yourself, but then in your relationships as well, which is so important when you have kids, because otherwise you just get stuck into the day-to-day, and then you actually forget who you are as a person, who you are as a couple, who you are as in your workplace, and it's important to take that time as well.
Yeah, I think I've watched so many TikToks and YouTubes.
You do watch a lot of TikTok.
I'm on TikTok probably, honestly. They said yesterday at the conference that we are on TikTok. I think it was only an hour. No, that was LinkedIn. I think it was like 6 hours a day or something. Yeah. And I was like, honestly, I think I'm on TikTok like 12 hours.
You do send me a lot of TikToks.
Like, I mean, in marketing, you are on socials quite a lot, but I am obsessed with TikTok.
That is your excuse.
I do use it as an excuse, and I'm sure anyone in marketing are with me that we're on TikTok for work.
Yeah.
But I've seen so many things on TikTok where there's like relationship coaches and life coaches, and they're like, you need to take at least, I think it's like 2 hours out of the week or something for yourself. Then you need to go on a date night once a week, and then you need to go on a weekend away with your husband once a month or something. And I was like, oh my gosh, how much time do these people have? I don't know how are we going to go away once a month?
I mean, in an ideal world, that would be amazing. That would work. Yeah, if we could. But I mean, that's what we say. We got to make the time. And I think that's also what I learned yesterday is you just got to make the time. You just got to, like, even though we all run around and say we've got no time, but then make the time. Yeah. And then I think the other thing that we sort of looked at yesterday was saying no.
Oh, yeah.
And it was funny. One of
no gal.
One of the attendees was saying how, you know, they want to learn to be able to say no so that they can do the things that they actually want to do. And I think a lot of times we're not fitting in the things that we want to do for us is because we're not saying no to things that we don't want to do. And I think we underestimate the power of being able to say no. Because I think it is actually important. And I'm 100%, I'm in that boat. I'm a people pleaser. I say yes to everything. Yeah. And I know that that's my kryptonite.
Yes.
But I need to learn to be able to go, hey, no, I don't want to come, or no, I can't do that, because I've set myself a goal to be able to have some time for myself, to benefit myself and make myself a better person in the at home and in the workplace as well.
And we're so worried about what other people are going to think of us all the time that we feel like we can't say no, because we're like, oh no, what are they going to say?
Yeah.
What are they going to think of us this time if we say no to another thing or another thing? But I feel like, it's, like I said, all in moderation. Like I believe that in eating food, all in moderation, going out, all in moderation. I don't think it's bad that, you know, you can go out and have fun, and I don't think it's bad that you want to stay home. Yeah. You know, so it's just balancing what people, and I think as well, it's just trying to not care. Yeah. Really, like we care so much, but I feel like sometimes you just need to think about yourself and not care what other people are going to think about you. Yeah.
Do you think your mindset has changed, like from when you're younger to now? Yeah. Are you very different in terms of that, around that saying no, or around that people please? Like, is it different?
I think I have changed a lot since I was younger. Yeah. You know, my personality is still probably the same. In high school, like I was all about making friends with everyone. Yeah. You know, high school can be very cliquey. Yeah. And I had my group, and I love my group of girls. Like, they are amazing, and they all really inspire me individually. But I was one of those people that was kind of friends with everyone. Yeah. So I could go from group to group, and I'd go from party to party, and it would be like I was with everyone. Yeah. And I think that's like what I am today. Like I'll be friends with all. Like whoever I meet, I could meet up with you for a coffee if I just met you. Like I'm still like that.
I think that's like yesterday when we were introduced, you were talking to someone, and I thought you'd known them for years. Yeah. And then we walked away. I was like, oh, how do you know that? And he's like, oh, I've just met them. I was like, oh, you were talking to them as if you'd known them for years. I'm like, that's really like powerful.
Yeah. And I guess with my personality, like I was always quite confident. Yeah. But you know, you look back and you think that you were really confident, which I know I was, but like I said before, there's always going to be something that you weren't happy with.
Yeah.
You know, like all throughout high school, as a young woman, you're always like, oh, I'm fat. I'm fat. But now that I look back at photos of myself, I'm like, oh my God, I was actually skinny. What was I talking about?
Yeah.
And then back then I was really confident in who I was and everything. I would put myself down sometimes, but I feel like all young women do. And we try to kind of get them off that path. But now I still kind of find myself sometimes like I am confident and I am proud of who I am and I am, happy with myself. But I feel like there is still times that I'm like, oh, like, are they going to like judge me that I'm loud?
Yeah.
And I'm too over the top and I feel like when someone meets me, they're kind of like, wow, like she's.
But I suppose that's human nature and there's going to be times that we're still going to question ourselves.
Yeah.
But I think what we learnt yesterday is, how to be more sure about ourselves 90% of the time or 95% of the time. And there's obviously going to be times of what we're not. But, what can we do? And I think it's what can we do within ourselves or individually to work on it and not always looking for things outside of us.
Yeah. And I think having a really good support network is really important. Yeah. I mean, the one thing that they said yesterday as well, it was all about being a superhero and everyone's a superhero. You have your superpower, you have your kryptonite and you have your antidote. And the greatest thing that they did at the end of that is they wrote on the sticker what your superpower was, what your antidote was, what your kryptonite was. And it was mingling around the room to find who has your antidote for your kryptonite.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we work really well together as well, because I'm kind of an antidote to your kryptonite too, and you're the antidote to my kryptonite. Like my kryptonite was that I have these ideas, but I'm not like creative. Like I can't put it onto paper.
Yeah.
Like I can write it down and I can have these ideas, but I can't actually put it into a picture.
Yeah.
Whereas I can give you those ideas and you can put it straight on a Canva, on a design and like graphic design your way into it. And I feel like it's having that support network to be able to bounce off so that you can say, hey, I'm struggling with this, and then they can help you with that.
Yeah.
And as well, like our love language, like we say all the time, is affirmations, praise. And I think if you're getting that from someone, it's going to be the best thing ever. Yeah. And I feel like we know that about each other now. So every time I feel like, Rach might be feeling a bit down today, I'll try and message you and, give you that praise and pick you up and tell you that you're doing a great job. And then when you feel like I'm a bit down or I'm struggling with something, then you'll message me.
Yeah.
And I feel like if someone doesn't have that support network, then it's going to be really hard for them to break that wall down.
Yeah. And I think it's so important in a friendship group, even within your family or even within a workplace, is to actually identify what everyone's superpower is. Yeah. And then, because everyone knows what everyone's superpower or strength is, and actually go, okay, I know you're good at that and we're going to lean on that. And I know that I'm good at this and we're going to lean on that, and actually work together, because everyone brings something different to the table. And I think utilizing that in a friendship group, in your family, in the workplace is so important. But I think it's like, saying it out loud is so important. And I think another thing is, it's so funny walking around, like one of the presenters, Fiona, said yesterday, she said that she looks in the mirror every morning and says, I'm fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And it's funny, everyone laughed. And she's like, well, what's wrong with saying that? And a lot of, the problem we have in Australia is the tall poppy syndrome, and we pull people down and we say, oh, you're so up yourself if you say that. But then what's the problem with actually identifying something good in ourselves and giving ourselves praise? And I think the more we give ourselves praise, the more confident we become and the better person we are in our family and in our workplace. So 100%. I think, I took from that, okay, I need to give myself a bit more affirmation to myself rather than waiting for it from other people. And I think I'm going to encourage everyone around me to give themselves affirmation. But then I think it's also important that we show that to our kids as well. Yeah. Because we don't want our kids to see us putting ourselves down constantly, because then they're just going to put that onto themselves and they're going to do the same thing. So I think, if they see us walking around telling ourselves that we're fucking amazing. Yeah. One, they might swear back, but that's okay. We can forgive that one. But I think encourage them to say it as well. And, it's okay to note the things that you're good at.
Yeah. And I think utilizing that in your workplace is so important as well. Like, you don't want your staff to feel deflated and not like they're doing a good job and kind of just moping around the office. Like, you want to have that workplace that you're recognizing the awesome things that your staff are doing. Like, they come to work every day for you and they're there from 9 to 5 or whatever their timing is.
Yeah.
And you really just want to make them feel like they're doing a good job. They're feeling appreciated. They're feeling motivated. And if they're not motivated to come to work, then you're not going to get a return from them.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're trying to bring to work as well, is we want to, get those superpowers out and get everyone to recognize themselves and know that they're great and they're doing a good job. And just offering that to your staff, I feel like will make them feel really empowered straight away.
Yeah. And I think that's sort of what we're about as the Appliance Girls. And I think that's what we've sort of discussed, is we're wanting to bring that to other people as well.
Yeah.
And see what that sort of looks like in different environments, in different workplaces. Obviously our industry, very male dominated industry. It's very different to other workplaces.
Yeah.
But we're trying to see what we can bring to our workplace, but then how we can bring that to our client events that we run in marketing.
And it's so funny because we obviously go to these events as the Appliance Guys, because that's the business, that's who we work for. And we turn up to the event, these two girls, and the clients are like, what? Yeah. What? Are you from the Appliance Guys? And we're like, yeah. And they're like, we're expecting these two buff guys to walk in with tool belts and high vis. And then we walk in and I think it's really funny that we've made the Appliance Girls now, because we can actually now market ourselves as, hey, yes, we are from the Appliance Guys, but we are also the Appliance Girls.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's quite funny though, the first impression that we give when we go to these events.
Yeah.
But I think doing events is so important for your clients. Like, let's talk about that, because we do work for real estate.
Yes,
so we are a appliance repair and replacement business.
Yep.
We do work for real estates. They're our clients, and we do, I guess, appliance jobs for their rental properties.
Yep.
And since we've started marketing events, our biggest thing that we really wanted to bring is to engage with our clients and to create relationships. And so we started doing these events.
Yeah.
And how do you feel like, Rach, our events have impacted us?
Yeah, and I think before we started the events, our biggest thing is we wanted to build partnerships, and that's why we thought, okay, what can we do for our clients to build that partnership? And that's when we came up with little ideas. So we've been running some gelato carts, having a gelato cart in the offices of the real estates.
Yeah.
We've had some cocktail carts which has been really good. We do have some coffee carts upcoming as well.
Yeah.
But what it's allowed us to do is to spend some quality time with our clients in an environment that's casual. It's not about business. It's not about selling. It purely is about building that relationship and building that rapport.
For sure.
And that's something that I'm very passionate about. When I was a teacher, that was one of the things that I absolutely loved about teaching, was the rapport I got to build with my students. And so then that's one of the skills that I have taken over into marketing, is I want to build that rapport with our clients and show them that we actually care and we're here for them and we're for all their needs that they have.
Yeah.
So,
And I think that I guess if you do work in marketing or events, anyone listening, I guess the biggest thing is you don't have to have this giant event that is, really over the top and this ball dance or whatever. Like, just doing these small events at the client, really getting in their face and creating those relationships. I feel like just even that small thing just shows how they are appreciated as a customer. I know yesterday we did a live monogramming station.
Yeah, that was very cool.
Yeah, the best kind. If anyone needs live monogramming, they're amazing. And we just did some little goodie bags.
Yeah.
Which we just put, a protein bar, a book, pen, really little things, but it makes such a big impact.
Yeah.
Like, I think the monogramming station was the talk of the day, really.
Yeah.
And just that one thing is like, wow, you guys are going to be front of mind all the time now, because people are going to think, hey, they did this for us.
Yeah.
We're going to have them on our books as a partner.
Yeah. And you've obviously were in sales before marketing.
Yeah.
What do you feel is the difference? Can you feel a difference to when you were just walking in cold calling?
For sure.
Yeah.
I guess when you're in sales, cold calling is, you've got to really have that certain personality that can take rejection, because you really do get rejected a lot.
I would struggle. I could not do sales.
Yeah.
It's
like
not for me.
You will walk into whatever you're selling, really. For us, it was real estates. But you might be going into a bar, you might be going to a retail store, a hairdresser, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I feel like people have that view already straight away of you, that you're just trying to sell them something.
Yeah.
And straight away it'll be like, oh, no, sorry, too busy. You know, it's hard because people are busy and it's hard to get time with them. But when you're doing an event, it's really showing that you care about them and you want to put time and put money into them as a customer and really spend time with them. Yeah. Because I guess when you're on the road as well, just doing cold calling, you're just handing in the same pamphlet and, you know, explaining who you are, what you do. Yeah. And what really we have started to focus on is why we're doing what we're doing. Yeah. And I think how that's going to benefit the property manager. Yeah. And I think that really put it into perspective for us is it's not, hey, we can do this for you and we can repair this and we can install this. It's how am I going to make your life easier? Yeah. And how am I going to benefit you personally? Yeah. And I think it's just putting that into words, talking to them and seeing what they want as well. Yeah. Because when you're spending time with them, having a cocktail or having a gelato, it's a much more casual environment. Yeah. And so you can really get out of them a lot more. Yeah. And you know, you care as a salesperson about what they want. Yeah. And so you're going to take that feedback back and be able to work on that and really change the business to be able to help them.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing as well. We've gone in there asking them to give us feedback and we're saying, oh, can you give us feedback? And then they're expecting us to ask for the positive feedback. And we're like, no. We want you to give us your negative feedback so that we can then take that back to our team and go, hey, this is the feedback we've been given. What can we change? How can we work on it? I think that's been another thing as well, because then in that environment, then haven't been afraid to give us that feedback. Yeah. Whereas otherwise, you know, not always, but sometimes they wouldn't want to necessarily say things. Yeah. But we're open to it. And I think that's been good as well. And I think that's something because I'm obviously someone who hates getting negative feedback. Yeah. And I've learnt to go, okay, let's use this and how can we make things better? And I think that's
100%.
Another thing that's also helped me with my personality of being shy and working through that as well. And that's come a long way and I've, you know, enjoyed that process.
Yeah. And I think being able to be with them in a casual environment, I think they open up a lot more to you. Yeah. I know that a few events we've done, you know, they've been quite shy at the start. But then as you're talking to them, not about work, just about life, really, you know, just talking about other things, then all of a sudden they're like, actually, we have some feedback. Yeah. And that's when they really open up and can give you that advice. Yeah. And, you know, they say all PR is good PR. Well, all feedback is good feedback. Yeah. Like if you don't get bad feedback, how are we going to learn? Yeah. You're never going to learn from good feedback because that's just going to be like, okay, we're doing a good job. We're perfect. But if you get that negative feedback, then that's when you go, okay, we need to change this. We need to put a system in place here. We need to start doing this. We need to look into this. Yeah. And it really opens your eyes into a lot more things. And I think doing those carts have really helped us. Yeah. And they're just tiny events. Like they're not these huge things we're inviting 500 people. It's just little events, going to these real estates and being able to show our appreciation as well. Yeah. And I know the biggest thing as well is such a small thing can go such a big way. Yeah. Like even just taking donuts to a property manager or donuts or a wine or something to a real estate, it really goes a big way. Yeah. And I think, we're starting to do that.
Yeah. And I think it's also the relationships we've built with our suppliers that we're using. So Sal from the little gelato cart, we've used him so many times and we've built a relationship with him as well. And, you know, I'm enjoying that process of, you know, it's like we're building little friendships, which is something different in this role that I'm actually really enjoying, which is good. But then also what the events have done is linking on to talking about people's personalities is we're actually getting to know all our different clients and their personalities on a personal level. Yeah. And then actually having some understanding of where they're coming from. So then when it comes to the other side of the work side, then we maybe have an understanding of why they're sending a certain email. And because a lot of times, you know, all we're getting is emails back and forth or messages. And so you don't actually know what they're actually feeling.
100%.
So I think for us, it's, you know, understanding them as a person. Yeah. And which I think is so important. Is understanding them as a person first. Yeah. And then they're a client.
Even just putting a face to a name makes such an impact when you're in business. Yeah, absolutely. You know, you can be emailing someone for years and years. And I feel like when you're emailing and speaking over the phone, you're much more comfortable to not care. Yeah. And you're much more comfortable to just lose it, really.
Yeah.
But as soon as you put a face to a name to someone, you know you're talking to a person. You know you're really dealing with someone who is looking into this job for you, or who's organising this event for you, or who is doing anything. And I feel like as soon as you meet that person, that changes straight away.
Yeah.
And then the deeper you go, the more you're going to get. You're going to maybe get a friendship out of it. You're going to maybe, you know, have a lifelong client. You're going to get so much more out of this person just by putting a face to a name.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're encouraging as well with all these events, is it's not just the salesperson going to them.
Yeah.
Because our account managers are great and they go on the road every day. But I think meeting the rest of the team is so important as well, because then if they need something as well, they don't just have one person they need to rely on. They have a whole team.
Yeah.
And I think that that's super important in business, that you get out there and you meet your clients, and it's not just about the account manager. It's everyone's getting out there.
Yeah. Getting your face out there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's so important.
I guess, where do we go? I mean, we've spoken about our events, which are great. And if you're in events and you need any tips on some carts, send it our way and we'll be able to help you.
And if you're a supplier that runs events or has, let us know as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're doing these all the time now. We're looking at maybe bigger events in the future. And we'd love to hear feedback and some different suppliers that we can use.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and then I think linking into that with our personalities as well was interesting. Understanding a little bit about ourselves, but then also getting people to think about their personalities as well and how they've come along from when they were younger as well. So and I guess we're going to go, to be trying to get motivated now. Yeah. I mean, we want to motivate everyone that's listening. Yeah. We want to motivate ourselves every day. Yeah. We want to motivate our teams. We want to motivate our kids. So I guess, what does that look like? Yeah. And I think, one of the reasons we're starting this podcast as well, personally for me, is also to put myself out of my comfort zone. Yeah. And that's one of the motivations for me. But it's a biggest thing for me for motivation is for people to find their motivation from within. Yeah. If you have a motivation that's external, it's going to fade away and it's going to disappear. And it's, once that motivation external's gone, then, things don't happen. So you got to find that motivation within to do what you want to do.
For sure.
And I think that's something really important, whether that be, talking about it, telling someone about it, and actually verbalizing to someone what you really want to do and what that comes from the inside, I think is really important.
Yeah, I think it's all about keeping yourself accountable as well. Yeah. Tanja said a really interesting point that she researched the Biggest Loser contestants. Yes. Yeah. And after the show finished, all of them went back to their original weight. Yeah. And I feel like they weren't kept accountable. Yeah. They didn't have that motivation from the trainers. Yeah. And I guess they didn't have the whole world watching. Yeah. And it's really actually sad to think about that oh my gosh, they did such a good job losing all that weight. And then as soon as the cameras, lights and flashes were off. Yeah.
And the prize money or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was back to the original weight. Yeah. So I guess you really need to be kept accountable by someone else. Because sometimes we can say we'll keep ourselves accountable, but it's easy to lose that. Yeah. And even just buddying up. I mean, if you want to be kept accountable by someone else, buddy up. Yeah. Say, hey, this is what I want to do. I need your help to do it. Slap me in the face every time I bite my nails. Yeah. Or just ask for support. There's no shame in asking for support. Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with asking for help. Yeah. And I think people get shy or get scared of asking for help because they're scared of that rejection and they're scared of that judgment. But I think it's just opening up and being able to accept help and accept a buddy system.
Yeah. And then it's okay to say, I want to do something for me. Yeah. That's my motivation as well, is I want to do it for me, and that's the reason that I'm doing something, and that's perfectly fine as well.
Yeah. And I guess from today's episode, we want our listeners to really reflect on, I guess, what keeps them motivated. Yeah. And what they need to be able to get to where they want to be. Yeah. And we're happy to support anyone and help anyone. And honestly, if you are listening and you do want motivation or you do want someone to keep you accountable, we want to help.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like both of us have become very open and very happy to help anyone. Yep. And we're all about kind of helping people learn.
Yeah.
You come from a teacher background.
Yeah.
Like we really want to train people and help people, and we might not be, professionals or doctors or psychologists or anything, but we're real people.
Yeah.
And from life experiences, I guess we want to be there.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's better to just have a random
that
you don't know. Like
what are we talking about here?
To keeping them accountable.
Oh, I thought you were talking about something else. Sorry, I just derailed the interview.
Oh my God, Rachel, don't go down this rabbit hole with you.
I feel like that means
no randoms. We want randoms to be able to help them, keep them accountable and motivate them. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. Sorry, I did derail that.
You really did derail that.
You were just going somewhere different there, and I was like, what is she now moving on to?
I knew in my head what I was saying, and then I was like, wait, has she read this wrong? What's going on? No, seriously though, but in all seriousness. Yeah. And I think as well it's good because I think we'll get other people on the podcast.
Yes.
That will be able to showcase their stories and showcase their methods of keeping motivated and yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what our podcast is for.
And I think it's just, encouraging people to sit back, reflect on your personality and where you've come from, how you've grown up and where you are today.
100%.
And then what motivates you now or what do you want to motivate you in the future?
Yeah.
And then sort of actually reflect on that and
put it out in the universe.
Yes, but take that time.
Yeah.
I think is the biggest thing is taking that time. I'm guilty of not taking the time and I'm encouraging myself. I'm talking to myself now.
Yeah.
Take that time to sit back and reflect and look at the different.
Honestly, whether it's sitting back after this, that you've listened to it and you're sitting there and you're thinking, okay, this is my life. This is what I've done. This is what I want to be.
Yeah.
Whether you're putting that out in the universe for yourself, you're telling yourself you want to do that.
Yeah.
But take that next step further. Tell your boss that you want to be a manager and that you want to progress in your career, or tell your husband that you want to do this with your kids and you want to progress as a mother and you want to do this with your life, or tell your friends, hey, I want to have this hour of every week, or I want to have lunch with you every week so that we can have just a time to catch up, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Spend that time to put it in the universe for everyone, because no one's going to know what you're thinking.
Yeah,
your boss doesn't know that you want to progress in your career unless you're going to tell him, and he'll work with you or she'll work with you to be able
put in
to
the
do
work.
that. Yeah. So I think we really want to focus on this week is putting your order into the kitchen.
Yeah.
What do you want from life?
Yeah.
Do you want to be a rock star? Do you want to be a manager at your job?
Yeah.
Do you want to do horse riding on a Sunday morning?
Hint. That's what Cass wants to do, Dion.
Do you want to do dancing on a Friday night?
Yeah.
Like really put your order in the kitchen of what you
Yeah.
want. And I think that's what life is going to give you.
Yeah.
We're not here forever.
No, we're not.
We need to live every day like it's our last.
Life is definitely short. So,
yeah. So I think that's what we want out of today's episode, guys, is let's reflect on our life, reflect on our careers, and decide what we want for ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. I like that.
I love it. All right. So question time.
Yeah. Well, it's your turn.
Now, the superhero one last week, I think we got a lot of slack from our husbands.
Yeah, we did.
They believe that filling up petrol is not a superpower.
Michael was very embarrassed for me. He goes, out of everything you could choose, that is what you chose. I said, sorry, it's just what I wanted.
Look, the life of a mother, our superpower is filling up petrol and having the washing done. So this week we've gone a bit different.
Yeah.
We've been talking about food and eating. So let's just talk about what your last meal on earth would be.
Oh, last meal. Can I have can I have multiple?
I feel like we could do a three course meal.
Okay, good. Because I would
entree, main, dessert.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, it's your last meal on earth. I feel like you should be able to have a 3 course.
I mean, I definitely know that my dessert is going to be a creme brulee.
Oh my God, I was going to say creme brulee too.
Yeah, but a massive creme brulee. And then the dinner, I think, would actually have to be a rice dish of some sort. I love anything. So a risotto, but a really fancy risotto.
Yeah, a mushroom, a truffle. Truffle risotto.
I'm actually really hungry.
Yeah.
I might have to get some food after this. And then an entree, I want something really I don't No, that's really hard.
Yeah, entrees are a hard one because it's like, I mean, there's heaps of options, but what do you go with?
Something like pork belly or something.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going total opposite. I'm not going to say creme brulee because you already said creme brulee. All right,
took that one.
So, entree, I'm going to stick with the whole seafood side of it. I love seafood. So, let's go entree, oysters. You've got to have oysters, you know. I mean, not oysters. Everyone loves oysters.
I hate oysters.
They are an acquired taste.
Yes.
But I love them. So let's go entree oysters. And then for main, I would have maybe a seafood marinara. Ooh, I do love a seafood marinara. But Dayan says that seafood does not belong in pasta. Okay. Which I disagree about. Yeah. So if you disagree that seafood does not belong in pasta, you're with me. And then for dessert, I'm going to go with a banoffee pie. Oh my God. Good choice. My friend Caitlin. Caitlin, if you're watching, I am endorsing you right now. She makes the best banoffee pie I've ever had in my life.
Really?
Yep.
I have to give it a go.
Every Christmas she makes it for our Christmas party, and I am hanging around for it this year.
I like
so
that.
we'll go banoffee pie.
Oh, sounds good.
Yeah. So next week, what are we going to talk about, Rach?
I think we're going to dive into a bit more of a mum life, mum balance, and a bit of the mum guilt. So we're going to dive deeper into that.
Yeah, I think mothers and fathers, but mainly mothers, we get that mum guilt, and we have that reflection of, oh my gosh, what are our babies going to think of us? Do they even know that we're gone? And we'll go through the mum guilt and the mum work-life balance and how to juggle that and how to not be so hard on yourself, I guess. Exactly. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and thank you again to the Bella Vista Hotel, the Hills Podcast Studio, for having us again.
I know, it's such a great idea. I mean, they give this platform to regular people to be able to put their views out there and put their life out there, and I think it's a great opportunity for all.
So thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to next week. So thanks, Cass.
Thank you so much.
And we'll see you next time. Cheers again. Bye. See ya.